Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. It's pretty much been really crazy in my life, between a bunch of funerals and order fulfillment and also my full-time job. So I didn't want to come on here and half-ass it, but I'm going to work on getting back onto my production schedule so that I can get you content on all things embroidery, cosplay, and embroidery on a budget. I'm going to show you how to do some custom embroidery on a chef's apron. So if you have some people in your life that love cooking and love chopping it up in the kitchen, and you want to give them a gift that is unique and personalized for them, stay tuned. Today I'm using the 4.25 by 13-inch mighty hoop to help me do the work on the apron, as well as the 4.25-inch mighty hoop. I'm not only adding the chef's name onto the top of the apron, but in the center around the torso, I'm using the 4.25 by 13 mighty hoop to add a phrase in the center. I'll be putting some lettering on this chef's apron. Well, I do have the freestyle stand for the hoop. I wanted to show you how to do it without using anything but a table. I'm using water soluble stabilizer underneath, and I will show you how I easily hoop this just using a freestanding table. I lay the hoop back on the table because it's flat. It's easy for it to just lay there. Now it's time to lay the garment on top. Because the garment actually has natural lines, it's easy to line up the tab of the hoop with a garment. Now that the garment is in position how I want it, now it's time to add the top. Very simply, you just bring it with the warning side up, bring it to where the hoop is, and so as you see, the hoop is aligned. The tab is in the center. The words will be going across the center point of this, and as I put it on the machine, I will use the machine to adjust where I think the lettering should go correctly, so that it, number one, doesn't interfere with the pockets, but it also aligns perfectly within the center of the garment. The awesome thing about the 4.25 by 13-inch mighty hoop is that I think I'm gonna have a lot of different usages for it. I do a lot of custom jacket backs, and what's cool about this is that it allows you to make designs in a more centralized manner. I do have the 8 by 13 mighty hoop, but I found that placement is a little bit strange on that if I'm doing a one-liner. It's better if I'm doing a larger image, but if I'm doing a one-line item, it's important to have it centered on the garment. And the 4.25 by 13-inch mighty hoop actually helps me do that a lot. Okay, so now I have it set up on the machine. I'm using my table that came with the PR1055x because we don't want any thing to shift while the machine is running, and because the arm is at its widest setting, I just want to give the hoops a little bit of stabilization. Mighty hoop also has a long arm that doesn't require the use of a table, and at a later date I will be purchasing that and doing a review on that as well. But as of right now, I am going to be adding the customer request to this garment. Okay, so the design is loaded. one of the things that I like to do is once I've set the design, I like to hit this button on the machine, and what that does is that it frames and it basically scans the garment that's on the machine so that you can see a life-size model of it. So what you're hearing is the sound of the machine moving the arm around, and it's pretty much establishing where the hoop is on the garment. And now, as you see, it gives you an image of what the garment will be like on within the frame. And as you see, I made it a little bit under 2 inches by a little bit under 11 inches. And so what I'm able to then do is now move it down so it doesn't stitch on the pocket of itself. So it will actually trace out where the needle will touch on the garment, so you don't have to worry about it doing things like accidentally stitching where it shouldn't be. As you can see, I moved it down so that it will not stitch onto the pocket of itself, and it will actually be centered within the garment. I really don't have to do much in terms of moving it around, and I think it's in a position where I want it to be. What the one thing you want to make sure that you do with these mighty hoops is that you press trace. So you're gonna edit end, and then you're gonna do trace, because you want to make sure it doesn't hit. So I've traced it twice, and I like where the placement is. So now it's time to stitch. So I already used P Design 11 to pick the colors of the threads. My machine is already loaded up with all the thread colors, so all I have to do is now hit embroidery. It should take 20+ minutes to do it, and here we go. You hit the lock button, and then this green button, and now you see it's beginning its stitch out process. If you look at the back on the stitching, you can see that all the stitches are in place tightly. This is a water-soluble stabilizer, so the moment that they decide to wash it, the excess stabilizer will wash away in the wash, which is pretty cool, leaving behind only the lettering. Next up, I'll be embroidering the chef's name above these 2 leather strips using the 4.25-inch mighty hoop. What I love about it is that even though it's a smaller hoop and it would be your traditional 4x4 hoop, it helps you get into tight spaces, perfect for small logos. And the cool thing is that you can use some of the excess water-soluble stabilizer on this. So I'm all about waste not, want not, and since it's a relatively small logo, 1 by 3 inches, it's gonna fit perfectly within the center of this garment. So as you see, I've lined up the garment with the top of the mighty hoop. I'm gonna, of course, verify that it's a straight line across the divots over here. So you see me making sure that there are adjustments as I move along the garment. I see that the top line of this and the top line of the hoop is aligned. So then I will snap the other guide in place. So I snapped the hoop in place, just putting it on top of the warning, let it go up. And as you can see, the 2 leather straps that I talked about, and it's firmly in the top and the center of this part. So what I will do is attach it to the machine and then slide it over with the camera feature that I showed you before when I put it on the torso of the garment. So I will do that in a second, and then you'll be able to see it all lined up. Again, I have brought it to the machine. It's now attached. Continuing to use the table feature, the table that came with the machine. I like to use the machine with flat items because I can be sure that things most likely won't shift, and I don't have to worry about the fabric getting caught underneath anything or it being sewn together, because the table kind of prevents the flat pieces from folding over. Again, I do use the mighty hoop often without using the table and without using any support at all, but sometimes when I want to make sure that the garment is right and that it doesn't shift at all, I take an extra precaution by using the table. And it's cool because it gives me a work surface as well. An example of what it will look like on the actual garment. And I like this feature a lot because it helps to be sure that you're not going to go ahead and do anything crazy in terms of getting the design on the garment. So I can hit edit end. And if I want to make sure that it's like sitting directly over the leather pieces, I can move it down a little bit and also a little bit to the right, because I want it to sit right in between the 2 divots on the leather piece. I think I'm happy with how it looks, but as always, I will have the machine trace it to make sure that it doesn't sew where I don't want it to. So again, this is the design that will be going on the top of this garment. I can set this. I already designed it in P Design 10, so I don't really have to worry about colors or anything like that. I'm going to hit the camera feature, and as you see, it moves it around. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the trace button, and you notice this needle moves and it shows you where the needle will be threading. So I kind of think that's a little bit off from where I want it to go, so I'm gonna move it and then watch it again. And to be sure, I'm going to hit the camera button again to make sure that it rescans it and gives me a good idea of where it's going to go on the garment. And you see it did it again. And then there's another feature that will actually project the stitches onto the garment, and I'll show you that. If you look on the screen, it actually shows you a projection of what it will look like stitched out, and you can make adjustments based on what you see, but I think I'm going to slide this down just a little bit and then do one more trace, and then I will press go and let it go. So the link for where you can get your own version of the 4.25 by 13 Mighty Hoop is in the comment section below, and I look forward to your thoughts on not only the design, but future uses of that mighty hoop. I would love your suggestions on other projects that I should show you, as well as I will continue to put some footage up that I haven't yet edited. I do have a lot of different custom pieces that I worked on in the last couple of months that I want to show you guys. And as always, stay fierce.